Hi, Dave here. Wanted to do a brief overview of our proactive pace of play management functionality. Our system is based on a lot of the work that Dr. Lou Riccio has been doing over the last couple of decades with every major golf institution, you name it, PGA of America, USGA, etc., on management of pace of play. Lou is an absolute expert at factory physics and all the science behind it. We really literally wrote the book on pace of play. Our proactive pace of play management is very different than elapsed time pace. Let me show you a little bit how that works in the system and explain the difference. So first, let me define the difference between what we call elapsed time pace and our proactive pace of play management. So what you'll notice on the upper left-hand corner here is in the map, we've got a context slider, and that slider is right now set at the pace, pure elapsed time pace mode. We can switch it over to position in a minute to show the problematic players, but let me just explain the difference here. So elapsed time pace shows everything on the golf course, every cart on the golf course as compared to the benchmark. So if a cart is playing in 4 hours and 16 minutes and it's 4 hours and 10 minutes as a pace benchmark, you'll see that it's 6 minutes above pace and therefore yellow. The problem happens when you've got extremely busy days and everything on the golf course turns red. So let me just show you what that looks like. If I hit the pause button, by the way, we keep data for the last few years. You can go back to any day, any time for the last couple of years. So let me pick a busy Saturday. I'll go to that day. It'll bring in the data. Now you'll notice here on the back 9 this is 36 holes. So on this part of the golf course here, everything is red. If you were to send a ranger out there and talk to everyone, it's really not fair to talk to players about pace that have no room ahead of them. So what we do is we switch this context here, and you'll see position. So which players are actually out of position will show up as triangles instead. And we will alert to out of position players. Those are the players you can go directly to and say, whoever's on cart 88, you guys are 24 minutes off pace, but you've got the entire hole open ahead of you, and therefore they can actually do something about that. Now, that's the first part of the equation. The staff gets the alert on the out of position player. They go out, they have their mobile phone with them. Our app works inside the mobile phone web browser. They'll log a player intervention. First pace warning, second pace warning, the group was drinking too much, whatever they want to put down as a record. And that will allow the rest of the staff to know what interactions happened with that group for the day. So anyone can go out and handle it and pick that up later on. We measure the amount of time it takes for the staff to get out and address the issue from when they got the alert. Super critical. The faster that we respond here, the better the golf course is going to keep moving, because pace is, in essence, an additive problem that gets worse the longer it goes on. It's a traffic problem. And then what ultimately we do is we measure how long then after the ranger intervenes, how long does it take that group to get back into position. All this ends up in a report that can get sent to your email box, or you can analyze at the end of the day. And you'll notice that there was on this cart, there was a pace warning. You'll see here that some carts actually self-heal. They get back into position after a period of time, and those times are all logged so that you can see ultimately the score of flow on the golf course for the day, know how well your team is addressing the issues, and ultimately keeping the golf course flowing, keeping players happy, keeping revenue up for public golf courses, and ultimately keeping members happy at private clubs. We talk a lot about not being able to manage what you don't measure. So our system offers a number of ways to get analytics and reporting data out of the system for further analysis. And I'll show you a little bit about how that works in the system. We have a number of ways to get data and intelligence out of the system as it relates to pace. This here is an example. It's what we call our mega pace report. It's got pretty much every piece of data related to pace. You can run it for a period of time, a single day, a week, a month, a year. You can compare days of the week against one another. You can do mornings, afternoons, certain time periods, and go ahead and run the report for all that criteria. Then what shows up is the number of full rounds you have. If you had partial rounds where people played less than 18, it will also show up that as a count. Here's the pace benchmark, 4 hours and 30 minutes. You'll notice that the average round pace with our system is a full 36 minutes better than the pace benchmark. Here's the front 9, back 9, average pace for pars 3s, 4s, and 5s, the number of rounds that were in different pace categories, how bad were certain rounds. If there were, a certain number above 10 minutes, we'd want to pay attention to that. The individual pace times per hole on average. So how long did it take to play hole number 1, 2, etc. And very important for a lot of clubs and properties is really the turn time metric. So we will measure the amount of time it takes to get between 9 and 10. If that means that the clubhouse is there and people are stopping to get food and beverage, you want to make sure you minimize that. If that means the halfway house, same thing applies. And then all the individual rounds data here, if you had players assigned to it, they'd also show up on the right-hand side. And all this data can then be downloaded to an Excel file and further analyzed. There are a number of other reports, and some of these can be emailed directly to your inbox so that you've got regular access to them without logging into the system. FAIRWAYiQ integrates with over a dozen T-sheet systems that are on the market today, and we keep adding more as our customers desire. What this allows us to easily assign players directly from the T-sheet, which gets pulled into our system behind the scenes, onto golf carts, and get increased player intelligence, know where players are in the course, and just know a whole lot about how to service those players better. And finally, we work with hundreds of properties across North America. We solely focus on the North American market for the time being in order to provide the best customer experience for our customers. I encourage you to click on the link here on the page, go to our website, and see what our customers say about us. Thank you.